Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Sing it, Zara. How I wonder what you are.
I've spent years of my life wondering who I was, why I couldn't fit in like other people, why I was bullied, why I couldn't do things as easily as other people always seemed to do them. I couldn't socialise, I couldn't keep friendships. All this time I've just been pretending to fit in, pretending to understand, when I've been silently, completely on my own. 2 years ago, I discovered the term autistic. I'd heard of so many people talking about it, but never really in a positive way. But I've spent months and months and years researching, taking tests online, talking to people, getting actual experiences from autistic women and meeting them and talking to them and giving them my story and they give me theirs. And somewhere along the way, I discovered that I'm autistic too. I have spent 18 years of my life questioning why I can't do things, why I don't fit in, why I can't socialise, why I feel different to other people. But now that I've got this answer, my life makes sense. This is a really big video. This is something that I've been wanting to talk about for well over a year. Biggest reason I haven't spoken about this yet is because I didn't have my official diagnosis, and so I didn't feel validated, which shouldn't be the case, and self-diagnosis is valid because of the lack of healthcare we have in this country. I'm privileged enough to have finally got a diagnosis, and so I can finally say, hi, my name's Zara and I'm autistic. So, welcome to the video. As you can tell by the title, yeah, I'm autistic. This is something I haven't really said before. I've hinted at it in a lot of recent videos because I'm beginning to be ready to talk about it. About 2 years ago, I had the light bulb moment of thinking, oh, these autistic women that are in the media and on social media and my friends, they are very, very, very similar to me. And it was the first time that I'd experienced seeing somebody that genuinely looked and dealt and struggled and acted just like I did. It had always been a case of like feeling like I couldn't keep up with other people or feeling like I didn't fit in. I did a lot of research and there is so much to this story that isn't going to fit into this one video because otherwise it would be hours long. It's a massive process and I've been going through so much of it and I'm still very much in the process of learning about myself and adapting, and diagnosis and the months that come after diagnosis is only the first step of the journey, really. There's kind of the realisation, then there's the diagnosis, and then there's the whole unmasking journey. I'm definitely improving, I'm accommodating for my needs, and I've learnt a lot since getting this label, this answer. It's an explanation for everything that I've struggled with, and so I'm learning to kind of deal with it better and manage it better. I'm going to go through kind of the timeline briefly about when I realised and go through a couple things that I realised just to give you guys kind of a brief overview of my journey. I am 100% going to be making videos on every single part of this. I'm going to be making like educational ones and also my journey, my story times, things like that, because I did document my diagnostic process. So a lot of my content this year, this has kind of been one of those things that I've been wanting to say but haven't been able to. A lot of my content this year is going to be neurodiversity based. It's already heading in that direction, but now I can officially start to talk about my experience as an autistic person and try and get rid of some of, well, not get rid of, that's impossible, but try and educate people on some of the misconceptions that are very much still out there. But yes, okay, I think the first moment I've realised that, oh, I might be autistic, or the first moment I realised that my traits fit in with that category was, I think, around 2021. I must have been in, yes, late high school, age 16 in the UK, and definitely going into college was when I started to properly research and put time into it, and that's when I kind of genuinely started thinking, oh, this might be a thing, rather than just like a floating suspicion. So I was about 16, for reference I'm 18 now. I think it started with me seeing a couple things, like the typical seeing a video on TikTok and going, oh, that sounds suspiciously like me, and then kind of going down a rabbit hole of googling this and symptom lists and the diagnostic criteria and going through and realising, oh my god, this does actually sound like me. And then a lot of my friends at the time also pointed it out to me, and they were like, you know this thing that you do, or this thing that you struggle with? It sounds a lot like autism. So yeah, they started talking to me about it, and I started to properly research, and basically I didn't do anything for a year. Not anything official anyway. I just researched and kind of came to the conclusion that, wow, this really fits me. This explains everything. But I didn't feel comfortable actually going for it and admitting to it. This meant that obviously I didn't go anywhere with getting a diagnosis. I just kind of was in a bit of a denial period because I didn't want to associate myself with another label, as a lot of people on the internet like to point out. I do have a couple conditions, but I would like to happily say that being autistic, this new label, this one big label, this is a good way to explain it. Autism is here. It's an umbrella, okay? Autism is an umbrella, and underneath it are all my other struggles apart from Tourette's. Tourette's is over here. FND can link in with autism. It's not caused by it, but it can link in. So FND is floating around. So Tourette's, FND, and autism covers all the other things that I have struggled with. Anxiety, panic attacks, depression, OCD. Even my OCD is actually explained by autistic rituals, which was crazy to me. That was really weird to accept. I'm gonna have to do a video on the overlaps and stuff. It was really interesting. But basically, it has explained not only the autistic things in my life, it has explained everything else that I've dealt with. When I say it has explained my entire life, that is not an exaggeration, and I just can't explain that enough. It really has changed my life. And a lot of people have commented recently that in my videos and stuff, I look like I've got my personality back, I've got my energy back, and that is true. I have been in quite a bad place for a couple of years. Like 2022 was not good. It was probably evident in my videos. I wasn't very well. I've not been great for a while. Pretty much the entirety of college I was struggling a lot, even though I didn't say it out loud to a lot of people. I feel like this has really been the solidifying factor in me becoming me again, and kind of really starting that healing journey, as cliche as that sounds. I don't even know what to say in this video because there's too much to go into, but basically the last few months I have been away quietly behind the camera. Well, I've been sharing a lot more on Instagram. Go follow me on Instagram if you want like daily updates, because I write a lot in my captions of posts. So if you want to know about my life and my feelings and things like that, Instagram is the place. But I am bringing it over here, and I'm going to be talking so much more about it, and I'm so ready and so happy to share it. I finally, this is crazy, but I finally feel happy, like, in life. This has really helped me just understand myself and understand other people and the world around me, and I feel like it's given me the confidence to just be me and just kind of unmask, I guess, which has improved a lot of things in life. I am going to, again, do a full video on my actual diagnosis journey, but my assessment was actually a very positive experience, which is not the case for a lot of people who are going through the whole ASD diagnostic criteria thing. Long story short, I originally went through the NHS. My therapist worked with me and I was telling her all about it. We worked through it. We were like, okay, we'll go for a diagnosis. And I did the developmental, all the questionnaires. I did like going through my childhood and writing about it, and my mum filled in forms. We did all the pre-assessment things, and we submitted them early because we could do it through my therapist. But basically, I got referred to the adult ASD services through my GP, which is a general practitioner in the UK, like a family doctor. And basically, they wrote back to me about 8 or 10 months later after waiting, and I got this letter. I was so excited. I was convinced it was going to be my diagnostic assessment. I was like, it's here, I'm going to get an assessment. Open the letter. They closed services in my area. Yeah, they disbanded them. So there actually aren't any services in the area where I live for ADHD or autism for adults, which is great. Sarcasm for people who don't understand. Yeah, so that was a bit disappointing. The clarification that I felt from opening that letter before I knew that it was bad news made me realise that I needed the diagnosis for myself. I needed to get an assessment just because I needed that validation. Personally, I struggle to validate myself, so that was really important for me. So I decided to actually go private. Obviously this isn't accessible for everybody. Private healthcare is very expensive. I'm privileged enough to have had some savings that I could use on it, and so I paid for my own assessment. And I'm very, very happy that I did this because I had a very positive experience. It was really quick. I think the whole thing only took 2 months. I went with a company called RTN, who I had been recommended to from another autistic woman. I think they had a collaboration with them or an assessment with them or something like that, and they recommended them to me. And so I had a call, and they were really lovely. I just got a positive vibe from them. And so I decided to go with those, and I'm very happy that I did. It was just very positive and very adapted. The whole thing was very tailored to just whatever I wanted to do, which was perfect because I think I would have struggled if I'd been rushed through NHS services. And for example, I got to request what doctor I had. So the psychologist that did my assessment was a woman because I feel more comfortable with women. I got to pick the time and book it in, and all these things I was kind of in control of. And also the benefit of going privately was the clinical psychologist that did my assessment was an FND and autism specialist in women. If you've watched any of my content, you will know that that is my life. And I've never had a doctor be only once have I had a doctor talk to me and say, yes, I know what FND is, here it is, explaining my life. Every other doctor, I have to educate them, I have to tell them what FND is, because they look on my charts and they go, what's FND? And I'm like, oh, here we go again. But she answered the call and was like, yeah, introducing herself, and then she was like, so I'm an FND specialist who specialises in FND and autism and the link between them in adult women. And I was like, wow, this is good. This is a good green flag. This is great. So yeah, it was actually very positive, and I'm really happy that I went through with it. So I do highly recommend doing that if you have the ability to, but obviously that is not accessible for everybody, I understand that. I will link the company that I went with down below because I thought they were really positive. I'm not sponsored to say this, I want to put that out there. It just was genuinely really positive. I will see if I can put all their details in the description. So yeah, that was my assessment. It's a very positive thing, even though I know a lot of people might see their own diagnoses as a negative thing or as a limitation. For me, it's really validating. It's really, I don't even know the word, it really brings me up because I've been searching for answers pretty much my whole life. Yeah, and now I feel like I have them. I feel like I have the toolkit that I've been missing in order to understand myself and actually be able to do things. So I've been able to travel recently. One of my recent vlogs was me going to a Netflix premiere, which I never would have been able to do years in the past. I feel like now that I can manage sensory things and I know how my brain works, I can adapt to work with that rather than against it. I think that's all I'm going to say in this video, but big announcement. I want to do a little section just before I end this video. I want to talk about what comes next, the future. What does this mean? Which is a very loaded question, damn. One thing that is going to come from this is my videos in 2024 going forward are going to stay the same as they have been. I'm going to obviously do loads more on Tourette's and FND and chronic illness, just life with disabilities in general, because I love doing advocacy for that. But expect a big influx of neurodiversity videos and autism and everything about being an autistic person, my diagnosis, my journey. I'm going to be doing a lot of videos on that, and I'm really, really excited to share it. I've also done a course on autism, so I have all the facts, actual education floating around in my head, so I'm really excited to share that and hopefully educate some people and share my journey and what I've learned, because I've learned a lot of things. So I hope you're excited for videos like that. It's going to be interesting, and I hope it helps make some of you feel seen. Maybe it'll make you realise that you might be autistic too. If it does, I hope it helps. Another thing going forward is I'm very much on this unmasking journey of like figuring out who I am and what my fashion sense is and trying to be me without masking. So that's a new little journey that I started probably about last summer, I think. So I'm quite a while into it, but I'm definitely still learning and I'm definitely catching myself earlier when I start trying to mask. So that is very much still a journey, but it's been really helping and I'm really happy to finally actually feel like myself, whatever that may be. I'm also documenting this entire process in my book because, as you may know if you've watched content and stuff, I'm writing a book. I am literally on the last chapter right now. I'm finishing the last chapter of my first draft. And then there'll be revisions and then there'll be publishing, so that will be coming later this year, I believe. But yeah, a book about my life. It's a health memoir and I will actually be touching on my whole autism journey. In that book there'll be an entire chapter on everything, but I won't be going into like extreme detail because I feel like I could write an entire book on all the details. Maybe I will someday. That will be coming later this year, so if you prefer written content and stuff, I will be releasing a book. And I'm working on that at the minute. It's a really exciting project because I love writing. Writing is one of my biggest passions. Everything feels like it's going well at the minute, which I've never really been able to say. So I'm very happy. I'm very grateful for all of this and for being in the place that I am now. Even though it's still difficult, all the struggles are still there. Like, diagnosis doesn't remove the struggles, but it does make it easier to recognise them, which then makes it easier to kind of manage them. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling. Oh, I just spilt my tea. But yeah, there we go. That is my story. There's my journey. Well, some of it. The reveal, the big woo, I'm autistic. Maybe it makes some of you feel seen. Maybe it's nice to see some representation. I hope by kind of revealing this and being honest with you guys that it makes you kind of feel validated, I guess, because I know there's a lot of autistic people who don't feel safe enough to tell other people, so I kind of, if I can, I want to be some sort of voice for autistic people and just share what I'm going through in the hopes that other people can be educated about it. So yeah, I'm very excited for content to come and I hope you are too. If there's anything you want me to talk about in specific, or there's things you want me to cover or questions you have, feel free to leave them down below and I'll put them into a big list, maybe do a Q&A. That feels really good to get off my chest. I've been waiting months to do this video and I'm so excited that I finally filmed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, turn post notifications on if you want to know when I upload, and I will see you next week. Have a lovely, lovely day. Bye.